Hey guys, welcome back to Movie Mics from Broken the Built podcast. And this is episode 7. And what's special about this episode is I am now featuring guests on the podcast. And today we have none other than Don Royal.
How you doing?
Now, just to talk about the week a little bit, guys, I've been putting in a lot of hours at work lately. And I've decided that I want to take on more than one type of counseling. So I am seeing 2 different counselors now on this healing journey. The first counselor is offering cognitive behavior therapy, and she's helping me work through behavior problems that I've had in the past and that still carry with me in all my relationships, and trying to work through, ultimately abandonment issues and try to change who this person has become, because we're not locked into that character that people think we are. We all have the ability to change. And the other therapy that I'm doing is called EDMR. And this is like a rapid eye movement type of therapy that allows you to put yourself at the scene of the crime so that you can reprocess past traumas and find closure in the things that you just never got to find an ending to. So that's where I'm at with it right now. I'm incredibly thankful that everything is on the up and up right now. God is good. He's been blessing my life in many ways, and I continue to pray to him and hope for, blessings and opportunities. And ultimately, I just want things to unfold organically and surrender control at this point. Today's guest, Don Royal, I've known him for many years, but we haven't really been in the same room too many times. It is good to see you. I know that you're a very uplifting person, very positive, but you also come from troubled background, much like a lot of people. And, you're on a healing journey yourself. So with that being said, let's get into some of the things that you've been healing from, and let's kind of talk about what you're trying to unpack right now.
Like you said, I definitely have been on a healing journey. For those of you that don't know, like he said, I'm Don Royal. I've been on a spiritual journey, a journey to stay away from alcohol, and definitely just to be, just someone that shows up for myself and others, and just try to be a good person and give back to people that struggle from the same things that kept me down for some time.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people have some skeletons in their closet that bring a lot of doubt and shame. And from what I understand, like we don't need to carry all that with us, but it is good to acknowledge those scars, and scars do take a while to heal. What's some of the things that were holding you back with your mindset?
Well, my mindset was just me being from Brooklyn. I have a story that doesn't stray too far from most people that grew up in the inner city that I grew up in, in the cities, period. And so for me, just growing up, having my parents both struggling from alcohol and drug addiction, that led us to, going into group homes, and for me and my siblings going into group homes and foster homes and things of that nature. And, I had a lot of resentment toward the world and my parents. So I felt like the world kind of owed me something. And then I walked around with this, I don't give a fuck attitude, and a lot of that showed, a lot of the results of that came through massive incarceration, Rikers Island, Brooklyn House, Spofford, just street violence, just a lot of anger, just me trying to fill a void that, of, I guess, missing my parents and my siblings. And I found family in the streets, and a lot of direction that come from the streets, unfortunately, is not positive. And And I went with the rush, and the consequences were pretty evident, you know?
You mentioned that you grew up in group homes and foster homes. I don't know if I've ever opened up about that, but I also was in the foster system until I was 12 years old. I was considered to be an orphan, and I was taken from my family at 4 years old, and I was adopted at 12 years old. Kind of touch on that, because I know a lot of people, it's a very confusing time in people's lives to have to go through the system. What I've witnessed is people would come and go, and you weren't really allowed to get attached to people because you never know how long they're going to be there with you. Maybe the same cases for prison. As far as like attachment goes to people, you know, like how did that show up, and how have you dealt with that over the years?
Attachment issues?
Yeah, or just like witnessing people come and go in your life and like not having that solid foundation.
And that does a lot to a child's psyche too. You know what I mean? It kind of, from a young age, even before the group homes and the foster homes, let me just say, even before that, we were constantly getting evicted from apartment to apartment, from one place to another. So it's different schools, different neighborhood friends to play with, different places to live. So the attachment, I never felt like I belonged anywhere or anything belonged to me for those reasons. So I just had that get it while the getting is good attitude. You know what I mean? But when it comes, but on a more human, you know what I mean, stance, I would say like it's I do get attached to people, and I think a lot of my hurt and disappointment from me getting attached to people come from me trying to fill the void of me not having my parents. You know what I mean? Just seeking validation and seeking love from wherever, and just attention. You know, it doesn't even have to be real love. It doesn't have to be anything genuine. I just want to be seen. You know what I mean? That's
real right there, man. Like I really identify with that. It sounds like you have some abandonment issues. Does that show up in your relationships?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, like fall in love too fast with the wrong, a lot of, I'm blessed right now to have found my person, but falling in love with a lot of people, I guess I was in love with the idea of being in love, just wanting to have a family structure, wanting to have something that I never had. And I would put that responsibility on someone that is not equipped to give me those things in reality. You know what I mean? So I'd be in love with the idea of having that with this person, but that person ain't the right person for me. You know what I mean? And even, of course, because of my trauma, I wasn't even equipped to, keep a relationship going or obtain a relationship either, because I was broken as well. But of course, because I was on that frequency, I didn't attract the right people.
I hear you, man. Like I kind of attach myself to people. And a couple of things I realized along the journey is people are not responsible for your healing. Ultimately, it's up to you to find the services and go through the steps needed. And also, people aren't responsible for your happiness. We got to fill our own cups, whether it's through God or your passions. And a lot of the things that have become lessons are also blessings, man, because, if we didn't learn these things on our own, we would never grow. And it seems like you and I, though we haven't spoke a whole lot in the past, we are on similar journeys, and you've been through similar things that I have. I wouldn't compare my life to yours because I know you've been through a lot worse than I have, but I could identify with what you're saying. And just kind of going forward, what's something what is something you learned that you could help others with as far as knowledge or wisdom that you've obtained by being at your rock bottom?
Oh, for one, first and foremost, I want to piggyback off of something that you said. But in layman terms, basically what you're saying is nobody's going to save you if you don't figure this life thing out for yourself and to figure out the lessons that you need to acquire. You know what I mean? Then that's pretty much on you. Nobody is responsible for our happiness, and nobody is responsible for loving us the way that we're supposed to love ourselves and show up for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And the sad part about that is me being a child and having that trauma from my parents abandoning me. You know what I mean? At such a young age, it made me still, like I said, it made you just, you still, and even as you're growing, you still have this inner child that's still seeking that void. Mm-hmm. So to some degree, you're left stuck thinking that someone is going to save you subconsciously, and you almost feel like someone owes you for being broken at that point, and then you have to realize that. So that's a lesson that I would like to tell people. People might care, but people have their own traumas too, and everybody's not equipped to be your Dr. Phil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, everybody's not equipped. Everybody's not the right listening ear for you. You know what I mean? And because some people will give you bad advice or don't even know what advice to give you, or, you know what I mean? Or somebody will just throw a Hail Mary out there, or just have you throw a Hail Mary and you just sitting there playing the guessing game, or you just crash and burn. You know what I mean? But that's what people need to learn, that that love that we're looking for in everybody else, that person that we're looking for, we have to be our person. You know what I mean? Yeah. We have to be that to ourselves. We have to love ourselves and just think about some of the things that we go through, as if someone else was to do the things that we do to ourselves. If someone else was to do it to us, would we give them permission to put us through that?
Right.
So why do we give ourselves permission? So that's what I want people to learn, you know what I mean? Or and at least discover in this journey, is that you have to figure out these life lessons for yourself, because everybody's not equipped to give you the right information.
Yeah, you're right, man. And it's a hard lesson to learn sometimes. But going through this life with all these lessons, also like maturity, age and maturity, like maybe some people aren't old enough or mature enough to recognize that you're going through a lesson or a trial. I know myself, I'm just now starting to become vulnerable, opening up to people and talking about the traumas that hold me back. I know you come from a very rough background, and you're not allowed to display any kind of vulnerability. Do you find yourself opening up to more people with your newfound voice?
See, my problem was because, like I was saying earlier, I was seeking the validation, always seeking the attention, seeking the validation. So I was always prematurely opening up to people that I shouldn't have been opening up to, and displaying some vulnerabilities, some sensitivities, some emotional sides of me. And I come from where there's wolves, and I had to be a wolf at times too. You know what I mean? Not saying that's even what I wanted to be. And it's just a lot of the stuff I did came with the territory. But long story short is that I displayed so much to so many people along the way, just looking for the right people to trust. But along the way, I just gave so much of myself and emptied my whole, I emptied my whole plate, so to speak. Letting people know everything, you know what I mean? So what I learned is how to be more guarded with, my vulnerabilities and information about me, because everybody that's standing next to you ain't with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a hard lesson to learn, man, is like when you go through your trial phases, you do see who's in your corner. And I don't know about your instance, but a lot of people turned their back on me when I was going through my lows. And it kind of makes you reassess who you actually need in your life. And if those people are meant to stay through the season, then they're going to stay. And if they're gone, then it's probably best to let them stay right where they're at.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But my thing is this too. I learned this in prison. I spent numerous, unfortunate amounts of years in prison. But I did realize that, like I said earlier, everybody don't know how to be. Everybody don't know. People can love you and just don't know how to show up for you.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't. They're not equipped with the answers. They're not equipped with the even emotional. They're not. Like they dealing with their own shit so much that they can't even escape their own enough. Long enough to even help you with your shit. Mm-hmm. So everybody just don't know what to do or say in every given situation. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then you have those that, they were there for they were there for you when it was convenient for them. And when they show you who they are, then you have to just be grateful for that. Mm-hmm. Instead of resenting it, And if you mess with those type of people beyond that point, then that becomes a choice and not a lesson. And then you have I don't know. It's just you have people that they support you, mm-hmm. And those are the ones that really matter. But it teaches you ultimately how much exterior influence you actually need, because it teaches you how to show up for yourself. It teaches you how to be strong for yourself. It teaches you how to depend on yourself internally for the lessons instead of just seeking it from everywhere else. You know what I mean? And yeah. It builds a certain confidence in you too. So sometimes those rock bottoms are necessary.
I would agree with that, man. I never, as an adult, I never went through a rock bottom. About a year ago, I left my wife for another woman, and I didn't have an exit strategy. I just I knew that my wife had lost respect for me, and I felt like the connection was long gone, and the right thing I needed to do was remove myself from her life. And it was the right thing, because she thanked me. She actually said, "Thank you for freeing me," because I was emotionally abusive to her. I had not healed that childhood trauma, and all the abandonment issues I had kept showing up. And this time, though I jumped right into that next relationship, I did have ups and downs with that relationship, and it allowed me to sit with myself and really face who I am and reach that self-awareness so that I could try to seek help. And a lot of people, I feel, don't arrive at that point if you stay stuck in a situation. It's hard to breathe from that if you're always coming home to the same problems. And I'm just incredibly thankful to be in the position I am and to have gone through such a low phase in my life to where I could have a newfound appreciation for life and be able to have a positive mindset. Earlier you were talking about it's all about your mindset, and a lot of people stay stuck in that low mentality, that self-deprecating mindset. How do you reshape and rewire your brain in order to change that mindset?
You have to first and foremost want change, there's a saying that goes, a person will never change until the pain of remaining the same becomes greater than the pain of change. You know what I mean? And the pain of remaining the same, if you really have foresight of the steps, of where the steps that you're taking are going to get you, you'll realize that you're going to be on a constant downward spiral. You know what I mean? You have to choose your heart pretty much. You know what I mean? It's like the pain of remaining the same. I could be unhealthy and not go to the gym, right? And be physically hurt and, you know what I mean, like sick because of that. Or I could deal with the pain of being sore and fatigue of going to the gym every day for that moment in order for the greater good, though, at the end. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you have to, as a person has to know, you know what I mean? You need to know, you know, where you are and where that's going to get you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you have to choose from that point, first of all. You know what I mean? And how you view the world, if you keep viewing yourself as a victim and from a victim stance, then you're going to continue to be a victim. If you decide that you are going to be the victor, you know, and you're going to go after victories and look at things half full as opposed to half empty, then that's how the world is going to show up for you. You know what I mean? If you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at are definitely going to change, you know? So sometimes I just think we have to look inside. You know what I mean? If something doesn't look right to us, it might be the way we're viewing it. Mm-hmm. It might not be that actual thing that's wrong. It might be the way we're viewing it as wrong.
I like that. Like I kind of, in this newfound insight, I live for perspective. I want to be able to put myself in somebody else's shoes and understand them better, because we are oftentimes just in our heads and thinking, woe is me, but somebody has it way worse out there than we do. And through perspective, we're able to humble ourselves and really put yourself in that person's shoes. And that's kind of what I want for people, is to just gain perspective and understand that everybody goes through trials. We're just all at different points in our life where we show up and we learn these things. And not everything is linear. Healing is not linear. Sometimes there's highs, sometimes there's lows. Sometimes you regress and you go backwards. And other times you're rock solid and you could really show up for yourself. But yeah, it's all about that rewiring your brain, like you said, and not being self-defeating. And would you say that God plays a role in this as well?
Absolutely. However people see, you need something stronger than your mere existence. You know what I mean? To reach after, you need something greater to reach for you. You know what I mean? And that, even if it's like your higher self, even if it's the universe, if it's a spiritual, religion-based God, however it is for people, you have to know that, you know what I mean, that there's a stronger force than you that you can reach for and that you can call on. I've never seen someone that walked by faith. I've never seen faith and failure go hand in hand. I've never seen that. When I really study people that are on like just any aspect of any journey in life, you know what I mean? I've never seen those two things go hand in hand. So you have to be led by some type of faith in something in order to, you know what I mean, to be prosperous. I've never seen it not happen, and even evidence in my life, you know what I mean? If I can touch on my story, I would be
open right up,
glad to, because, and I'm gonna say too, is like, I just want people that are dealing with drugs, alcohol, mental health, or anything like that. I just really want people to know that this life thing can change for you if you really, really, really wanted to. I talked about my story. I talked about me being in and out of jail and having the resentment from my parents and being in and out of group homes and foster homes. I was born into this world of statistic. Like, I was made to be everything. I was made to be the result of everything a stereotypical inner city black child was made to be. And I would have been that had I not turned things around in later years and really just seen the world for really what it is. You know, I sold drugs. You know what I mean? I moved upstate to sell drugs. I've been to many states, many towns before I ended up in Binghamton. I came to Binghamton. I was still playing those inner city. Like I said, I was the stereotypical kid, still playing these games up here, you know, meeting girls and getting wrapped up in a whole bunch of shit. I wound up getting up here, you know what I mean? Other than my attempt murder charges I was locked up for in the city, the gun charges, the robberies, I came up here and was still moving like I was forever young and wound up getting a statutory rape case. You know what I mean? Meeting some young girls up here, didn't know their age, inviting them to a party. A couple of them got smashed. I was a sex offender for some X amount of years, you know what I mean? You know, I literally copped out to the charge so I wouldn't do no time, you know what I mean? So, like, I had to register as a sex offender and shit, you know what I mean? Other than other charges. So that's just me running around oblivious to life and being, you know what I mean? Being just unaware of what I was doing, just ignorant, you know what I mean? So I got caught up in some bullshit, you know what I mean? I wound up copping out to some shit I ain't do, but whatever. It had me looking crazy, but I wound up doing mad years in jail. You know what I mean? Probation violations, parole violations, failure to register for this bullshit and all that. And like, nobody ever abandoned shit because everybody close understood that I just got caught up in some bullshit. So nobody looked at me like I was some rapo or some fucking child molester, no shit like that, because everybody knew the truth. COs in jail, all my friends, everybody know I ain't no creep. So they just know I just got the short end of the stick. And that's why everybody still stays solid with me. But that shit happened on top of all of these other felonies. So, and that shit had me looking crazy. I had to hold myself down up north and going to prisons. I had to let it be known. I never PC'd or none of that shit. I never ran from it because I just got caught up in some shit. And people with solid minds understand that shit like this happens. I'm just one of the motherfuckers that just got caught up in it.
You're not the character that people paint you as, man.
Nobody. I don't think that the world ever looked at me as that. What I'm doing is just telling people all these accumulations of things that happen on top of, you know what I mean? Just me going through what I'm going through, and I'm going there for a reason. You know, on top of that, you know, I felt insignificant. The drugs, the alcohol. You know what I mean? I went from being a drug dealer to being on drugs to mainly alcohol, you know what I mean? Homelessness, rehabs, all that shit, man. And I still have, you know what I mean? I still managed to overcome that. You know what I mean? But when I was looking at myself like a victim, those things were adding up for me. When I decided to not be a victim, that's when things changed for me. I decided to not hide behind alcohol. I decided to not hang around people that use, and I decided to just find some self-value and some self-worth and self-love. And and upon those things, because I found those things, I found a solid woman. I have a family, you know what I mean? And all of these other things, and God, and all of these things into place. And what I'm saying is, like, I have all of these things because I changed my mind. I changed the way I view the world. I changed it's not designed for me to be doing what I'm doing with this music shit right now. It's not designed for me to be living in a nice house, or, you know what I mean, having a beautiful wife, or having everything that I have. It's not meant for it. People are shocked to even see the day and night reference applying to my life, because not only I didn't expect it, but I definitely said I want it bad enough to try to get it. And I moved away from the people and moved toward people and situations that allowed me to get it. And I got it, and I'm still getting it, and I'm still growing. And I just want people to know, for real, like, just like, anything is possible at any given time. I'm in my 40s. And a year and a half ago, I was sleeping in a laundromat. For real, like, and all of these things were just designed to hold me back. If you allow it to hold you back in here, it's going to hold you back. It's nothing physically out here stopping you from going after what you need to go after, whether it be just sobriety, mental health, good mental health, your dreams, your desires, being a good father. It's nothing stopping us from getting, you know what I mean, what we go after. Nothing. I just want people to know that, man. Anything is possible. And if I could do what I'm doing, anybody can do anything. The only thing that can stop you is being 6 feet deep.
So you went from, I don't know how long ago it was, but at some point in your life, you were selling drugs, and now you're slinging popcorn. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Hey. All right. A friend of mine, Dustin. All right. He's the OG. He's my OG. He's the popcorn guy. But he pulled me in on his business, and now together we're slinging popcorn. Not only am I doing, I have a decent career going with this music, I'm a businessman, you know what I mean? And this popcorn thing is taking off right now. You know what I mean?
What's the name of it?
It's just called The Popcorn Guy. It's, like I said, it's my guy, Dex. He's the founder. This is his baby. And I'm just his partner, and now we growing this thing. We got a bunch of flavors, and the popcorn guy.my is how you reach us. You know what I mean? And it's looking good.
I feel like it doesn't really matter what you're selling or what you're offering, as long as you're bringing value to people. And, popcorn is like a comfort food, man. Whether you're watching a movie or you're at an event, popcorn has always been a staple that us Americans gravitate towards. So it's honestly just as effective as drugs in a way. It's definitely serving a purpose, and it sounds like you have your purpose right now through the business and then music. Let's talk about your music a little bit.
My music. All right. So ever since I've gotten my head out my ass, so to speak, I just been working on my Don Royal brand as an artist. You know what I mean? Eventually, I'm gonna come out with my merchandise, but right now it's all about the music. I've just been dropping singles all year. You know, I got a couple singles with the hoodies. Of course, I got the No Names, my brothers. You know, we got a lot of music, man. It's hard to really sit here and say how much music we got out, but definitely follow me, Don Royal. All my singles are doing pretty well. I'm actually filming a video this week with Nico. We're doing a song called Classic. My single just dropped this week. That's on all social media platforms as well. So I'm working.
Yeah, man.
I'm working, and I'm all over the place. Y'all see me.
I see you working, man. And it's definitely inspirational to see somebody who, you know, came from nothing that is still just as hungry. You said you're in your late 40s now. That's one thing I worried about is...
He added the late part. I said 40s.
So, like, how do you stay hungry after all these years? And how do you still find your voice? Because I know you've been rapping for a long ass time, man. And you might have changed what you rap about over the years. How did you stay hungry and want this still?
Because I still have something to say, first and foremost. My sound isn't dated, you know, and I never really made it to, you know, it's not like I'm a past star that came and went, you know. I do music because I love it. You know what I mean? I've been making music for decades now. Many features, many songs for years. I've been doing this. It just I never took it serious. And as soon as I started taking it serious, it just shows me what I should have been doing for a long time. You know what I mean? People were literally waiting for me to take it serious. And, you know, they were just getting little bits and pieces over the years. They wasn't really getting a full body of work like they getting now. And, you know, so I still got something to say, and I still got something to bring to the hip hop world. So I'm gonna keep on, as long as I feel like I still have something to say, I'm gonna keep on saying it. You know, and it's good music too, by the way. So definitely check me in.
When you dropped a video, this was a couple months ago at this point. I think that when people saw that, first of all, when I saw that, I was like, you're on some grown man shit, man. Like, this is really mature. This is really hungry music, and you have something to say. And everything that you've been saying is authentic, and in a world full of fake, authenticity really stands apart.
Absolutely. And people need it. You know, they need at least something real to listen to. You know what I mean? I think something that they can relate to.
Absolutely, man. What is within the, like, I know you've come through a lot of different phases. You've been through a lot of seasons. What's something that you've grown from in the last 5 years that changed your perspective?
Something that I've grown from, thinking that people have to stay in your life, thinking that people, you have to stay loyal to a fault. You know, learning how to let go of things that just does not serve me. You know, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be situations, businesses, anything. If it's no longer serving you, you have to break out of that cocoon And you know what I mean? In order for you to transcend into whatever it is you need to, you can't keep holding on to something that doesn't work for you anymore.
I think that's kind of the case that I've been dealing with lately. I was really having a hard time letting this woman go. And when you feel like somebody's your person and it's all you know for a long time, it seems like that person is never going to go anywhere. And it's not like you take that person for granted. It's just like you think you're walking this life with them. And then when it shifts and you start to feel that abandonment that you call back to when you were a child, it really puts things into perspective, and it's you start to think like, do I really need this, or am I afraid of being alone? And I think for a while I was just afraid of being alone. And in my relationships, I would hold on too tight sometimes. It would show up through control and manipulation, and I would do whatever it takes to hold on to that person. And the lesson I'm learning is to just let go and let things unfold organically through God, through patience, and just an understanding that there's already a plan in place and I don't have to force anything anymore.
Yeah. That's amazing right there. You definitely don't. And what's for you, it's for you. But we have to realize we have to be optimistic enough and receptive enough to realize what's for us in order for us to go after what's for us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. What's next for you as far as the healing journey goes? Is there anything that you're working on as far as, because I know you've already rewired your brain and you have a positive mindset. Do you have to constantly check in with yourself?
Yeah. Well, I check in with myself by just the degree of happiness the energy that surrounds my household. If my son and my wife is happy, then I feel like I'm winning. Mm-hmm. You know, because I would love to be, I would love for the whole world to love me and like me and all of this, and I would love for to make all the right decisions when it comes to all of this world. But this is my peace, and when I come back to my home and my family and the energy that's surrounding me here is loving and positive, I feel like I'm winning, because the world is something that doesn't necessarily have to love you back. It's what's going on in here that really matters to me.
And then that peace that you find, whether it's through God or within yourself, how do you keep that peace?
By keeping them happy. I'm just kidding. No. I keep that peace by knowing that a lot of what I accomplish in the world, whether it be musically, whether it be business, whether it be any of those things, anything that I acquire out there, those things usually latch on to, like we spoke about earlier, the ego. You know what I mean? The ego is very necessary, but it's not the end all be all. I let those ego things stay for the ego, and I let my internal, my internal peace it dictates who I am. My internal self. That's what it's all about for me. Like, I protect my peace. You can have everything else. My family and my peace is everything to me. The world could take everything else from me.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to protecting your peace, it seems like whether it's the enemy, like they call the devil the enemy, it seems like when you are in your peaceful mindset, that's when things come for you. That's when you're going to be tested the most to take you outside of that peace. Has there been any outside forces that have tried to make your kingdom crumble within the last few months, or yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. See, the thing about that too is, to answer the question, is definitely 100%. The thing about that is to recognize the more accomplishments that come and the more people that are not attached to your accomplishments is the reason why they are not attached to those accomplishments. In fact, it might be the primary reason why you're attaining these accomplishments is because you're moving away from those type of energies, from certain types of people, places, and things that you shouldn't have been around. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I know for a fact that, like I said, when people, places, and things in my mindset started to change, and I stopped hanging around people that didn't really want anything out of life, that were doing drugs, that was wasting time, drinking and doing things that were not beneficial in life. Once I moved away from those energies, that's when the universe saw a clear path to give me my blessings. You know what I'm saying? So the test comes with people trying to see if you're still loyal to them. You know what I mean? My phone, I know for a fact that when I was homeless, like I spoke up earlier, my phone wasn't ringing. Mm-hmm. I couldn't even get nobody to pick up their phone. Now, nobody leaves me alone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I know that that's not real. I know that comes from the things that they're seeing me acquire, or accomplishments, or they see me moving up in the music industry. And so I know that love is not real. Mm-hmm. It's people that will try to attack me through my fiance. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like trying to holler at her to try to, but we too solid. Mm-hmm. We too solid in here to let anything even enter, you know what I mean? But people try. Mm-hmm. Girls try to come at me, and because they know that we solid, everything is solid, and people see me on a come up. So a couple people, everybody don't wish you well, and I understand it. So people throw negativity my way all the time to see if I bite the bait. But if I crash out, I lose everything. And I lose everything to some people that have nothing. Mm-hmm. And I work too hard to let anybody take anything away from me, whether it be mentally or physically, whether it be my possession. Nobody's taking anything from me. And I just don't, I try to stay guarded, you know what I mean? Just no new friends, really. Mm-hmm. If I don't know you, and if I could feel the energy of the ass kissing that's coming because of the person I'm becoming. Mm-hmm. I could feel people trying to get closer. I see all of that shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I know what's going on. So I'm just breaking it down. But since I see things so transparently, it's really hard for anybody to pull any wool over my eyes.
Yeah, once you speak that language of whether it's manipulation or somebody being threatened by your peace, you really can spot it. And I've been able to kind of walk that same line where somebody might enter your life, and not a loved one, but just somebody, and you could almost see what their intentions are right from the gate. And it's up to you to decide, do you want to let your guard down and allow this person whether it's, a Trojan horse, trying to penetrate your kingdom, allow them into your life, or you stay guarded and keep them at a distance. And I feel like for me, I am at peace, but there's been outside forces that have made me come outside of character within recent times. And it's embarrassing when I do that because I don't want to take a step backwards. I want to remain who I am right now. And if somebody could easily throw me off guard, then maybe I'm not as sturdy as I thought I was, and I need to return to center and ground myself. But there's been times in recent days where, man, it's just I've been tested, and I've been trying to seek out mentors and speak to God more. People that have gone through the system, maybe you didn't necessarily have a father figure. Mine died early on, the guy who adopted me. He died right after high school, and I was never really taught the lessons of a man, how to lead a woman, how to gain that, security. Have you found yourself seeking out mentors or father figures? Or do you have a more a compass that leads you in the direction that you need to go?
For me, I just, like I said, I seeked answers and all of those things from exterior things for so long, and it's like mankind. One thing that mankind have been consistent at in my life, and probably in all of our lives, is finding ways to disappoint us every chance, just to remind us that we're human, Mm-hmm. But I say that to say meditation, that stillness of the mind, stillness of the body. And when you have stillness of the mind and stillness of the body, it allows the universe to give you thoughts, answers, and different energies that are not recycled in your already reoccurring thoughts. That's the only way that God or this universe can speak to you, is if you're still in the body and still in the mind. Mm-hmm. So the answers that we're looking for all the time all of them aren't going to come from a physical man or mentor or that, you know what I mean? We have to realize how much power we possess in ourselves. And sometimes the only way to get those answers is to sit with ourselves in peace. And that's how a lot of things manifest itself into my psyche.
I like that. So you have to quiet the mind, because your mind will run wild. And like myself, I have an overactive brain. I will analyze everything that is said to me, and I'll replay it. And I'll also replay things that I say to other people. And it's not like a doubt or an insecurity. It's just I hope I said the right thing. And I hope that, this person perceives me as a good-hearted person and not malicious. My brain oftentimes lies to me. It lied to me throughout my whole last relationship. Say, like, this woman's cheating on me, even though she's just, going through her schooling and trying to do what she needs to do. My brain was always throwing up red flags. And I wish that I had the tools to quiet the brain. And it still runs wild. It just plants these like micro seeds in my head that fills me with negative thoughts. And checking in with myself, I need to say things like, my brain is lying to me right now. My brain is trying to deceive me, and this is not reality. How do you quiet the brain when it runs wild like that? Is it meditation? Is it prayer? Is it like, how do you stay grounded yourself when the enemy shows up?
I just try to stay grounded in my purpose and just having a certain amount of certainty of who you are, because whoever has any confrontation with who you are as a person it doesn't have to be for any friction. You just like I'm cut for who I'm for. I'm not everybody's brand and everybody's not my brand, right? So it's perfectly fine if somebody ain't for me, and it's certainly fine. It's perfectly fine if it's vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like, I don't know. I'm for who I'm for. You know what I mean? Like I don't force any pieces into a puzzle that I'm not gonna try to put this circle into a square if you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, don't even, if I feel an energy amongst me that you know what I mean? If it ain't sitting right with me internally, that's you saying that this person is not for me, or this, you know what I mean? Like this, like, you just know. Like
a gut feeling?
Yeah, it's your intuitive knowledge. You know what I mean? It's unspoken words. You just know, you know what I mean? Your brand ain't for everybody.
Right. And then in a world where everything, including entertainment and pop culture, is centered around mass appeal, mass audience, connecting with everybody, we can't please everybody. And like you said, not everybody is for you. You just got to find your tribe and vibe with your tribe, man. And
the law of attraction is like super duper real. I know in a lot of podcasts, it's overly spoken about, but people don't know how it's like you were saying earlier, right? Your mind has no choice but to produce evidence for what your beliefs are. And that's where we have to, once we realize that, that's where we need to really take responsibility on the things that our belief system, what we feel, what we think, you know what I'm saying? Because that's just, you know what I mean? Like you're going to produce, it's the law of attraction. That when you say certain things and repeat certain things to yourself, that's the energy you give into the universe, and the universe has a correlation with you and a duty to give you exactly what energy you give it, a mirrored image of whatever goes on in you internally, or what you say in your words, or anything, that whatever energy you spew from yourself is what the universe is going to give you back. And if the quicker we realize that as human beings, I think we'll watch the things that we internalize, even whether it be media, whether it be conversations, whether it be your own thoughts, whether it be food, you know, like our life is a manifestation of our internal beliefs. You know what I mean?
You are what you think.
Yeah.
And it seems like I have on and off days. Some days I'll wake up. First of all, I'm a naturally optimistic person. I'm a Sagittarius.
Hello.
And as you know, like you tend to look for the good in life.
Right.
But that negative mindset can be shifted, but you got to check in with yourself and let yourself know that this is not reality. My brain's lying to me. and let it go
Right.
before it becomes something that it doesn't need to be. And keep your peace.
Yeah. And it's like as long like everything we ever worried about, obsessed about, feared, anything with the outcome, and then at the outcome of all those things, we realized it wasn't even what. The mental anguish of it all was way more detrimental to you than the actual outcome of what you believed it was going to be. So we put ourselves, that's why they say worrying and fear is a useless emotion, because what's gotta be is gonna be. It ain't no way around it. We just have to be equipped for however life comes at us. We can only prepare for the things that we think is gonna come at us, but how life happens, we can't predetermine. You know what I mean? We can only determine what our actions are going to be toward what happens to us. You know?
Their response. In the last episode, I talked about building self-confidence. First of all, you don't seem like you lack confidence at all, so I'm just sharing this with the audience. Little victories in your life really build that self-confidence. And I'm on a mission to get rid of my insecurities, because I am living with my mom right now. I'm going to be getting my house back soon. But when you don't have a solid foundation, you could lead to, being insecure. Have you had any little victories lately that have shaped your mindset?
Sobriety. Yeah. I stopped drinking last year. I knew a change needed to happen in order for me to get the things that I wanted to have.
Yeah.
Right. And if I may just kind of backtrack a little bit and go and get into that. I knew the last time I got high, I was at a friend's house. I was sniffing coke and drinking for the whole weekend. And I knew that something needed to change. My phone was off, and I just walked downtown to the library, and I called ACBC, and ACBC got me into the Helio Health Rehab Center or whatever. And I stayed there for 32 days. And those 32 days, I stayed sober day by day. It made me, because this time when I went into rehab, I really wanted sobriety badder than anything. I knew that something needed to change. And the victories started with every hour that I made myself stay there turned into every day that I made myself stay there. And those days turned to weeks. And then those weeks turned into a month. And they let me stay. I wound up leaving on the 6th because they didn't want to let an alcoholic go on the 4th of July weekend. And I was pissed because I'm like, I want to go home. That's my day. Yeah. But that was the alcoholic in me subconsciously trying to make reservations to go back to my old behaviors. And because I stuck out those other 28 days, that's the reason why I was able to stick out those 32 days. The 32 days. So that, and answering what you're saying, small victories. And this is it. I made a vision board. I wanted to speak a little bit on what we've spoken on earlier about the law of attraction. This all ties into what you asked me to. They asked us to make a vision board. They brought us a bunch of magazines. They gave us some carbon paper, whatever the paper, craft paper, whatever it was. And we cut out things from the magazines that that we wanted our life to look like. It looked corny and cheesy as a vision board, but I did it. They was like, just do it. So I wound up doing it. And when I did it with real intention. Like I really You know what I mean? I started to, I read The Secret, so I know about the power of, the law of attraction and how you manifest things in your life. And I put myself on that frequency when I was making this vision board, and I really believed in it. I said, I want a house. I want a car. I want a wife. I want sobriety. I want my music career. And I want to make some investments, get into the stock market and day trading and all this type of stuff. And I started to get into all, everything I wanted, right? On down to my music and to being in the business for myself. And I'm talking about a year and some change ago. Everything that I made on that vision board, I have. Like, I'm not talking about, and more. Mm-hmm. So, this is why, like, I'm not a show off. I don't brag. And when people see me with what I acquired over the years, it's based on, I can't even believe it myself sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I know that I took the proper steps in here, and I did the physical work, and everything that I wanted in my life, I have today. Mm-hmm. So the evidence was in every little step. You have to look for small victories, and you have to look for little bit, You have to this is where your ego does come into play. You have to, in situations like that, don't look for the world to cheer you on. You be an egomaniac when it comes to what you consider to be a victory to yourself. Mm-hmm. If you say, I want to stop drinking coffee, or I want to stop smoking less weed, and you actually do that, and you slow down on all of these small victories, turn into big wins. You know what I mean? And the only reason why I'm here where I'm at today is because, you know what I mean? I count it, every step is a blessing, and you have to rejoice in it. You know what I mean? Why would God keep giving you more food on your plate if you're not even finishing what's in front of you? Mm. You know what I mean? So every day is a victory. Every day is a blessing. Every day is a lesson. You know what I mean? So you're going to see him. You just have to look for him. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to get up out of bed and you got up out of bed anyway,
it's a victory.
It's a victory. It's all. If it's going to be some. You're going to face some things when you're going after what you want in life. It's going to take some effort, but you got to choose your heart. You could stay in a fucked up life, or you can shape your dream life. But it's all up to you.
So the lesson I'm gathering from that is get crystal clear about what you want out of this life. Develop a vision for your future and take actionable steps towards achieving these goals. And you're living proof to show that within just 1 year, you could completely transform your life and your mindset and attract the type of life that you want. Mm. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. You just have to stay on that frequency. Like, you have to be clear cut and dry and have intention. Like, you have to be clear cut. You have to know exactly what you want and just know that it's yours. It's yours. You just have to go after it. It's enough of this world for everybody. If it wasn't a piece cut out for us, we wouldn't exist on it. So we just have to take ownership of what we think belongs to us and just go after it, because nobody's going to give it to us. Mm.
Well, I think we could let this conversation come to an end. I honestly, man, like just speaking to you, not knowing who you really were, just you opening up to me before we even started this and then hearing all of your wisdom, I feel that much closer to you. And oftentimes I tell this to people, when I'm around God-fearing people, my body gets cold chills. And I feel like sometimes God is speaking through other people to talk to me. Maybe that's the case with you, but today I feel like this conversation was meant to happen. And I believe we're going to bring a lot of value to the audience, your people, my people, and may we cross-pollinate our network and continue to grow this on this healing journey. And I just want to thank you, man, like for being on here. You're my first guest, and this has been a beautiful episode, man.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to have been a part of this, man. Thank you. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, man.
For real. Shout out to the whole 607. Shout out to Movie Mike. Shout out to Divine Journey. Shout out to the No Names. Shout out to Tone Chop. Shout out to Blizz the Illest. And shout out to everybody else that I forgot about. Peace.
Guys, this has been Movie Mics from Broken the Built podcast. This is episode 7, and we're out of here.